needed to revitalize interest in the Giants. In 1992, their attendance was 1.4 million, and we had a bad team. I think we won 70 games, lost 92 games. So we needed to get going, and Barry Bonds was available. He was a free agent. He was the MVP that year, 1992. He was the MVP in 1990. And it seemed to me and to Larry Baer that he'd be a natural fit with the Giants. His godfather was Willie Mays. His father was one of the best Giants of all time, Bobby Bonds. He grew up in the Bay Area. So it just made sense for him to be a Giant. And so I said, well, what do we got to lose? Let's call him up and see. And I remember dealing with his agent, Dennis Gilbert, and I said, we'd really be very interested in having Barry play for the Giants. Oh, he'd love to play for the Giants, but have you got the money to do it? And I said, well, I think we'll be able to figure it out somehow. I don't know how, but we want him on our team. So he says, well, we better get going on it. So I met him at the Hilton Hotel by the airport in San Francisco. And we had about a 40-second conversation. And the first, I said to Dennis, I said, Barry Bonds is the best player in the game. And he nodded his head, said yes. I said, well, the best player in the game should be the best paid. Nodded his head again. The best paid player right now is Ryne Sandberg. He knows all these things. I'm not telling him anything he doesn't know. And I said, Ryne Sandberg signed for 4 years. And he's being paid $7.1 million. Nods his head. Dennis Gilbert does. So I said, we propose to pay Barry Bonds $7.2 million and sign him for 5 years. And he says his heart is set on 7 years. And I said, well, how about 6? And he said, done. So 6 times 7.2 million is 43 million, and we'd spent it in 43 seconds. But the problem was we didn't own the team, as was pointed out to me the next day at the Major League Baseball meetings, when we'd arranged a press conference for Barry Bonds to be introduced as a Giant to the media. This was in Louisville, Kentucky. And I got an urgent message, cancel your press conference, come upstairs, and please meet with the people upstairs. So I didn't know who was upstairs. The new commissioner, Bud Selig, was there. The president of the National League was there. The president of the American League was there. The lawyer for the National League, not a good sign, he was there. Bob Lurie was there, and Al Rosen was there. And the head of the ownership committee, also I thought at the time, not a good sign. He was there. And all of these people said, who the hell do you think you are, coming into baseball, spending more money on a player than has ever been spent before? And I said, well, what do you expect us to do? We're trying to revitalize interest. But you don't even own the team. They say, you can't be spending Mr. Lurie's money. I said, why is it Mr. Lurie's money? We're going to buy the team. Not the way you're going. You're not going to be able to buy the team. Because you're supposed to sit back and watch how it's done. And maybe in 5 or 8 years, you can go after the Barry Bondses of this world.
You were getting that kind of a...
So we got a lot of pushback.
A little spanking?
The commissioner said, you've got to somehow figure out a way that if Bob Lurie does retain control of the team, which seems more likely to us now, given the way you people are behaving, if Bob Lurie controls the team, then he has no obligation whatsoever to Mr. Bonds. And presumably Mr. Bonds is going to need the $43 million that you promised him. So you figure out a way to handle all of that. And it took us about 2 days. And Bobby Bonds, Barry's father, was very helpful in figuring all this out. But at the end of the day, we said that if we, the ex-ownership group, were not accepted as the owners of the Giants, and Bob Lurie did become again the owner, or retained his ownership, Barry Bonds would become a free agent. And anything less than the $43 million that we had promised him over the next 6 years If you got hit in the head and couldn't play or whatever, anything less than the $43 million, we, the ex-ownership group, would make up the difference. Yeah, well, people thought that we're never going to be able to pull this off, and then I never forget the first at bat that he comes up in that '93 season at Candlestick. He hits a home run. That year he's the MVP. That year we win 103 games, having won 70 the year before. The Giants haven't won 103 games ever before or since that 1993 year.